Hello, and welcome to another Literacy Ready training refresher. This training refresher focuses on English Units 1 and 2, and particularly the vocabulary work that students do in a very similar fashion in both English units. So first, what is the purpose of the vocabulary instruction in the English units? Here, vocabulary study is really designed to deepen textual understanding. Students should learn to put definitional and contextual information together to interpret the text. The text we're referring to here, of course, is the central text of both units. What students are going to be doing is taking information that's definitional, that is the definition of the words that they're learning, and information that is contextual, that is information that comes from the text itself, together and using them for interpretation. So what students do in the units is they complete vocabulary work periodically based on the readings. In both units, students examine 2 words for homework as they read chapters, looking at both definitional and contextual information, as I said before. That's what they're doing at home. In class work involves peer teaching, categorization, and selection of the top 5 words. So in what way is this vocabulary instruction disciplinary? Well, it is disciplinary because when we're learning vocabulary in English classes, it's not necessarily about learning concepts the way it would be in a science or history class. It's more about deepening textual understanding and mastering word learning processes, and all of that happens in the support of developing textual interpretations. So here's an example from the academic notebook in Unit 2 of the work that students are doing at home to prepare for the vocabulary work that happens in class. Before students do this work at home, the teacher models this vocabulary work, and all of that information is available in the lesson plans. Basically, what students are doing is working on 2 words, one that they choose from the list and another of their choice. They use pages from the academic notebook to write down the word, provide their understanding of the word, include the context, so put maybe the sentence in which the word is found in the text, the dictionary definition. Then the next part asks them to put the dictionary definition in their own words by asking what in the world does that mean. And then the final piece of this vocabulary homework asks them to take both the context and the dictionary definition, put it together, and provide the information in their own words. This example, which is provided in the lesson plans, is an example of this word work that teachers can use to model. So the word here is philology. The first thing we ask students to do is to rate their understanding of the word. This understanding of the word really is their understanding of the word before they do any work. So in this case, I might circle the word poor because I don't really know what philology means. Then the next piece asks them to provide the context, including the page number. So this context is taken from the central text from the English Unit 1. In this case, the word philology is used in this sentence. In 1879, his health problems worsening, he'd been forced to resign his post as a professor of philology at the University of Basel, page 17. The next section asks students to provide the dictionary definition and then to put that dictionary definition in their own words. So the definition here is the branch of knowledge that deals with the structure, historical development, and relationships of a language or languages. Then in answer to the question, what in the world does that mean? I wrote, I know that the suffix ology means the study of, so I think it means that philology is the study of language. The final piece of the word work that we ask students to do at home is to take all of that information, the context, the dictionary definition, and to put it in their own words. So I wrote, it seems that Nietzsche was a professor at the University of Basel, one who studied and taught languages, but he had to resign because of health problems. When students come to class then, they each have 2 words that they have done this word work on. The teacher divides those students into small groups, and they teach their 2 words to the other members of the group. They do this using index cards in which they write the word on the front of the index card and the definition and context on the back. So you may have 4 students in a group, which means there would be 8 words that that group is learning. So they're teaching their words to the other members of the group. Once the other members of the group have learned those 2 words, the next process is for groups to participate in an open sort and report out on their categories. An open sort requires students to take the words, say they have 8 words in their group, and place them into categories that they develop based on the meaning of the words. So some rules that we apply in these open sorts. One is that there need to be at least 2 words in each category. And the second is that they can't categorize the words based on spelling. They need to use the meaning of the words to categorize them. We ask students to take their 8 words then, or 10, depending on the number of students in the small group, and to write down their category names and the words that go in that each category on a piece of butcher paper or on a large post-it note, and to put that up on the wall. Ultimately, then, each group will report out on its categories. What we ask the teachers to do while students are reporting out is to have students talk about why they chose to place each word in its category. This is, again, another opportunity to review the meaning of the words and to talk through them. The last step in the vocabulary work in both English units is for the whole class to choose their top 5 words and to place them on a word wall in the classroom. Choosing these top 5 words really should be about which words fit best with the content of the reading. So which 5 words from the however many that you developed as a whole class in each of the small groups, which 5 words from all of those lists are a best fit for the content of the chapter that they read. Arguments about that fit are welcomed and should be supported by reference to the text. So again, this is another opportunity for students to talk about words and their meanings and refer back to the text itself as they decide as a whole class which top 5 words should be on the word wall. So what should be happening throughout this vocabulary work in both English units? First of all, there should be lots of conversation, even argument. Here, students are talking to learn and they're having meaningful interactions around words and their meanings. We should also see a deeper understanding of word denotation and connotation. Of course, we expect students to be learning new words and what they mean, but we also expect them to be relating that meaning that they're learning to the text, and that's the connotation, so that they are thinking about what does that word mean in the context of the central text that we're reading. There should be repeated opportunities to engage with words and their meanings in really meaningful ways. There should be use of word meaning to support the development of textual interpretations, and multiple opportunities for dialogue, choice, mastery, and ownership, all of which are key for motivation. Finally, I wanted to provide a little bit of information about what we have found with both our pilot and field tests. First, students might need a bit of practice at this word work, so they'll need a little more support going into it than they will ultimately as they get more practice. They're pretty quick to catch on, and this seems to be a pretty engaging activity for them to engage in. Things can get loud, that's true, because there's a lot of conversation and sometimes argument happening, but it should be a focused loudness. As I said, students find this form of vocabulary study engaging, and teachers have been able to take this particular form of work and apply it to other units in other classes that they're teaching. We've also found that once students get some experience with the sorting process, it goes much faster. So invest more time up front as students need it, knowing that you will need less time as the unit progresses. So this vocabulary work turns out to be a good place to save time in the last few weeks of the unit where you may need more time for other things. That's what I have for you today on the vocabulary work in English Units 1 and 2. Thanks for the work you're doing with students, and have a great day.